I've got balls of steel.
All right, welcome back to the Balls of Steel podcast. I am Onyx,
And I am Rumble.
and we both have balls of
Balls of
steel.
steel.
Low. So this has been a long one coming. We need to talk about Nightreign.
Yes, a Nightreign.
So at first, when we were getting the teasers about Elden Ring, Nightreign, we had some mixed feelings about it. Because at first we found out it was going to be very similar to Fortnite,
Yeah.
um, about like the whole storm thing and finding random loot and things like that, and we kind of had a doubt because we were wondering if there was going to be like invasions and things like that because that's always been a Souls thing. But then I kind of had like the theory that that's probably the reason why Duskbloods is coming out for the Switch 2, I believe, because it's
Thank
going to be
you.
it's going to be mainly like PvP based technically. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, Elden Ring Nightreign is like the yin and Duskbloods is like the yang, I guess, in a way. Uh, which is very interesting to me. But we're going to be talking about Nightreign. So,
yeah.
in case people don't know, Elden Ring Nightreign came out very recently, around May. It came out around May, and both me and Rumble we pre-ordered it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we had big doubts. We totally had big doubts.
Yeah.
Um, But then when the game came out, and I think we can both agree that we both sucked when we first started. We didn't have relics in our name. We didn't understand the whole upgrading of weapons, the randomization of it. We didn't understand it. We didn't.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but then I'd say it was. I think it took about like maybe a week and a half, maybe when we were basically adapting to it.
Something like that.
Because I'm gonna say it right now, I'm an Iron Eye main
Okay.
where I also do some Duchess playthrough and a minor in Raider. What would you say yours is?
well, I'd say for sure, like I am also an Iron Knight main because, like, I'm more of like the range person, and also the
Mm,
shooter aspect of things. But
yeah.
I'd say like from time to time, like I do play me some Duchess here and there because, because she can move very fast, will invade pretty quickly, like so, it's like it's kind of like a get in there, get back out, kind of sort of thing, and
Yeah.
um, I'm kind of like not in the fullest in a way, but kind of trying to get a thing with Guardian because I think I read like some decent little shit with him, so kind of
So
like a little
bird.
bit with
So
Guardian,
you're part birds of the word.
something like that.
So what we're going to do in this podcast here is we're going to talk about the classes. Now, keep in mind that there was talk that there was going to be more classes coming in future installments of Night Rain. So this is going to be before those came out.
Yeah.
Where there's also been some Everdark bosses. We might talk about some of those, but only if it comes down to it. But we're going to talk about the classes. So let's start with the first one that we literally start with, Wilder. What are your thoughts on Wilder?
Um, Wilder's kind of an interesting little thing. I mean, it's like it's like he's kind of like I guess you say he's kind of like the soul, the Dark Souls kind of boy, but he has like a weapon that kind of makes me think of Bloodborne in a sense, it's full Dark Souls with a tad little touch of Bloodborne.
Yeah, you're talking about his ultimate art, which is the crossbow.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it kind of has like yeah, because it has like It pretty much has like a big boom thing. It kind of reminds me of one of the weapons from Bloodborne in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like the character skill that he has, where he can like pull things toward him, or he can, like project himself forward and
Yeah, it's kind
everything.
of
That's
yeah,
pretty
it's
fun.
kind of like a yeah, it kind of reminds me of Scorpion from Mortal Kombat a little
Get
bit.
over here, yeah. I'd say though the main thing that I don't like about Wilder is honestly how he swings his sword.
Mm,
You might notice this a little bit, but this is just a nitpick of mine. Is if it's a medium-sized enemy or a small enemy, and you're doing a run swing at them with your great sword, it'll usually miss, and that is very frustrating. Um,
yeah,
because I'm not used to great swords missing small targets in like Elden Ring and before then. Nightreign,
yeah,
he just has a weird swing with his greatsword. It's very weird.
yeah,
Um, and of course, I don't parry. I don't parry with
yeah.
his damn shield. Either I'll go full two handing a great sword, or I'll do two great swords in each hand.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the only time I ever do anything with a shield is if I had like Holy Ground or something like that, because Holy Ground's kind of nice, especially if you have like, no more flies, and you have like a decent amount of FP.
mm, what kind of relics do you usually run with your version of Wilder?
Ah, that's honestly a good question. I'd say for the most part, like, well, of course, like most of the time, right? Like you
Hmm.
always want to go for like a relic that has, X weapon starts with this, that way you can now have a better thing with the boss, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say for the most part, it's kind of like that. But other times, I may have like something that kind of give like additional stuff to his sword. Um, like say for example, I want to I kind of want to make him, be like a chill boy, where it's like I have like a thing like a chilling mist, and I
Mm.
use that for like as a last reward thing, or yeah, and I mix that with a little bit of light, like a little bit of holy damage. So like like holy damage, but kind of like a holy and chill type of thing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get you.
Uh,
In terms of me though, um, I used to have this little combo I would use with Wilder, where his starting armament would probably be like a bleed,
yeah,
and then I would put like a chilling mist on it, because you know how bleed and chilling mist kind of work together in um in a little faction.
hmm
Um, and then usually my third, I kind of like those Everjail relics, because
yeah,
yeah, because those work
yeah.
really well with melee builds.
Yeah. It's been saying it, like it's the whole. There's like a little bit of a meta thing going on where it's like if you have relics and stuff that have like like power up or with the Everdrill boss that you beat, you can get stacked up and whatnot. So yeah, but I
Yeah,
get you.
I have that mainly for like Raider and sometimes Iron Eye. I have like different like builds for them with the relics depending on what I'm facing.
Yeah,
Um, all right, let's see. So that's Wilder. Um, Duchess.
Duchess.
So when it comes to Duchess, I like dual wielding daggers
Hmm.
and having like a relic that has HP restoration upon dagger attacks. I
Yeah,
like that. Um, I like using relics that give maybe a little bit of vigor to add to her, because
yeah,
she's kind of squishy.
yeah,
Um,
kind of, yeah.
and then usually I'd have like Maybe a relic that would have to do with stamina regen per attack.
That's a decent one.
Because the main thing is what I've learned when it comes to like certain matches you run into. I run into a lot of daggers. Like I run into a lot of daggers no matter what I'm doing in the game. So if I run Duchess, it's going to be like a 9 out of 10 chance I'm going to run into like a second dagger. So I will have two daggers to go with my magic dagger.
I mean,
What I mainly
yeah,
like to try and find, though, in terms of daggers, if I get lucky, is some of them with affinity to bleed. Um, and maybe have the other one be like an affinity to like a weakness to the boss.
yeah.
Like the main Night Lord of that particular expedition. And if I don't get lucky, then it's fine. I always have two daggers every time when I go into a Night Lord boss. It that it's it's very easy to get daggers and some colossal weapons.
Okay,
But in
yeah.
terms of other characters, it's kind of yeah. Now, what about you for Duchess? What type of relics do you run for Duchess?
um, well, sometimes I say like the one type of relic thing that I have is, I can't remember what it's called per se, but it's basically a thing where, after you get like a certain amount of attacks in, her little special kind of kicks off automatically, if that
Mm.
makes any sort of sense. I think it's like dagger chain attack reprisals upon nearby enemies. So it's like you do all that, and the thing will automatically go off. It'll give like additional damage type
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are okay. Those are okay.
Yeah. Because like it's a little something like it's a little something extra, but yeah, I'd say probably like another little thing would maybe. Because I'm kind of like playing around with this here and there, but like there's the whole situation of like like the whole chilling mist and bleed thing as well, and when Duchess is going to be like one of those characters that people like to use it on, so that's kind of a thing.
Mm.
Sometimes I might try and go with like a bit of like a heal build, kind of like what you did with like the HP upon dagger attacks and all that. And I've
Yeah.
kind of been experimenting a little bit. Was this one thing about like post damage attack? 'Cause it's kind of
The
like Bloodborne in a
Bloodborne
sense.
relic. Yeah, that
Yeah.
I think it's hit or miss for me because while you would gain HP from post damage, I feel that the HP restoration upon dagger attacks outclasses that and even the regular HP continuous regeneration because it fills up faster with the dagger attacks, especially if you use two daggers. So keep in mind,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying that the quote unquote Bloodborne relic is bad. It's not. I think it's better than even the regular HP continuous regen because it's so slow.
yeah,
Like you can barely tell that it's working, and that's very
yeah,
very frustrating.
yeah.
Um, but I get you.
Like if you, yeah, if you could build get like a decent little stack of them, you could probably have like a nice little healing build, especially like like I said, if you get like XP upon dagger attack, and a little bit of post damage attack, and then maybe can you his bigger or something like that. You could probably be going in like a bit of like a heal build or something. I don't know.
Sometimes the relics that do more damage when it comes to critical attacks is really good too. It also works really well with Wilder. Because that was another thing I was going to bring up was just relics that give off more damage to your critical attacks, your
Yeah,
reposts.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
those are
not too
really
bad.
good.
Yeah.
All right, Guardian. Let me talk about Guardian here. So, I like relics that reflect damage when successfully guarding.
Hmm.
So, like any damage that you get that of a from attacks that hit your shield.
Yeah.
Some of it reflects back. And funny enough, if you can mix that with a little bit of extra endurance, you won't really need to do a lot of attacking with the Birdman. All you got to do is just put your dang shield up. Now, in terms of like his halberd stuff, what I like to try and do is get a spear. If I
True.
can get a spear to replace his halberd, I think that does more damage. Also, got me some Diet Coke. Cheers to you, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know you're probably drinking some Coke right now, yeah.
Yeah, bro.
And to everybody at home, sponsored, not sponsored, by hydration. We all need to hydrate. Anyways, in terms of like Guardian, it frustrates the hell out of me that he doesn't roll.
Mm.
He does like a tiny little bird dash, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
But he's good at planting those feet down for guarding, though. He's really good. You can't really
Yeah.
push him that much.
True.
So yeah, in terms of like relics for him, I like stuff that mainly just reflects damage.
That's a good one.
What about you? Because you said that you're trying to work with Guardian.
Well, um, the one the one thing I like to say for the most part is there's this one part, there's one little like special thing where it's increased duration of character skills. So basically, his little whirlwind. I like to call it like the whirlwind tornado type thing,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like he does that. If you can find one that increases the duration of that, you can kind of like have like a little mini tornado, and you can kind of like put small like some small enemies in there, kind of get them like just with the and all that. And you
That
can do like a
whoosh
little bit of
whoosh, yeah.
damage here. Yeah, you can do like a little bit of damage here and there, and whether it be like big or small enemies and stuff like that.
I do like the
Plus,
relics where when you do your ultimate art, where you fly up into the air and go smash.
mhm,
There is some relics that will like increase your attack and your physical damage negation a little bit. What the longer you keep it active on the ground,
yeah,
that's pretty good
um,
too.
yeah. Another thing another thing I've been kind of playing with from time to time is I think it's pretty much this one. I think it's called Night of the Lord, where switching weapons adds affinity attack, and it boosts the power of said attack. And switching weapons also boosts attack power. That's kind of something I like using from time to time.
That mixes really well with the Everdark version of the Dark Drift Knights relic.
I'm trying to think of which one because right now like I have what's called Knight of the Champion with him, which has increased max stamina and HP restoration upon thrusting counterattack and stuff like that. That's what I have for now.
Basically, what it does, Rumble, is every time when you switch affinities, it boosts your attack.
Hmm,
So if you have like more than one weapon or really just one weapon, the more you switch out and get added affinities, it increases your attack power for a short time. That's
I
why
think
they both kind of mirror each other very well.
hmm. I was about to say it's like I'm thinking in my head that's not the Lord, but that could be another thing too. But yeah, I get you.
Yeah. All right. Now our favorite build, the Iron Eye. So I have a couple different builds for Iron Eye, just in case I'm fighting something of a particular stature. Of course, I have a poison build for the one Adele that I don't like. Um,
Mhm.
and it specifically boosts all my poison stuff. It's really good against regular Adele. It's really really good. I have one that literally is around the whole Everjail thing. Where I
Nice.
start off with a stone sword key. I My attack goes up for how many Everjails are opened and things like that. But I also have relics that permanently boost my attack for every Evergel one I defeat.
Hmm.
And that's particularly what I tend to use against Everdark bosses because it's very, very useful. Um,
Okay.
I have another build that's specifically for the bosses that are weak to holy. You already know of the two main ones that are weak to holy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have basically two Everjail runes, not runes, relics. They feel
Yeah.
like runes. That stack together, and then I have the golden edge that you get from the around the end of the Iron Eye Remembrance.
Oh yeah, the Edge of War. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Yeah.
And funny enough, that makes Doggo very easy. Um, and then there's my favorite one that I have. This is one that I use just for like chilling out and fighting stuff that I would be much better with like just being long range. So one
Mm,
of my relics is HP restoration upon bow attacks.
nice.
I even with that same relic, it also gives me some poison darts, which is cool. And also, if I use any kind of cured meats like exalted flesh or turtleneck or something like that, it heals a little bit of my HP of when I use it.
Oh yeah.
And the other two relics that I use is Night of the Lord and the Everdark version of the Dark Drift Knights relic. So that
Mm,
means that anytime my bow switches to like an affinity of fire or magic or holy or lightning, as it's like as my bow is glowing, not only do I get an increased attack for that, it also increases again for how many affinities it shares, which is
yeah.
very, very good. I love those. I love those to death. Uh, but yeah, those are just the main builds that I use for Iron Eye. They never really steer me wrong. I like them. What
Fair
about you?
enough.
What do
Well, for
you
me,
use for the Iron Eye?
well, some of the stuff that I use kind of involves like his main thing. So like one of them is known to be like is art charge activation adds poison effects. So if you can be able to do his little ultimate giant three bow attack thing,
Hmm.
if you hold it until at the max, you can be able to get some you can be able to do a little poison effect on whatever it is you're hitting, which I think is
Hmm.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I have that
Um,
for my poison build. Yeah.
yeah, I also do the whole HP on bow attacks, it's about like where I can just be like kind of long range, be support, and I can get a little bit of heals each time. And
Oh yeah, that saves my ass so much, Rumble. Like you have no idea.
oh, I bet, and sometimes like I might have like something that might do with bow attack power itself or something like that, or I might do like a thing where it's like, oh, I'm gonna have like maybe like some recovery or something like that, because it's kind of like a hit or miss sometimes, but like
Hmm.
depending on like what I do, because because the thing is about Nightreign is there's a whole bunch of these like there's a whole bunch of things like you have like different colors for like relics. There's like urns, goblets, chalices, and grails and stuff like that. So if you go with certain colors, it's like, oh, you can do this little thing here, but yeah, I'd say like some of the times it's like either it has to do with like health on bow attacks, adding a poisoning effect on the ultimate, and depending on how things go, some involving whatever weakness is, for said boss.
Yeah.
So,
All right, Raider.
The Raider.
I will go first. First off,
Mhm.
I love the onion outfit specifically on Raider.
Yeah,
So nice looking. We'll probably talk later about like our favorite costumes and stuff.
yeah.
Um, for Raider, it's it's quite the thing for Raider because I used to not like Raider, but I have a couple different builds for Raider. Mainly just two. I have one that I use for Everdark bosses, where it's Night of the Lord and the Everdark version of Dark Drift Knights, because, like I said, the more affinities you have, the more it boosts your attack. And that works very well for Raider if I'm able to get two colossal weapons for him to use. Um, and then, of course, I have one that goes for I think it's either the attack boost or HP healing around Totem Stella,
Oh yeah.
or it's the one that the more damage you take, the more attack and defense you gain, or something like that.
Something like that, because it's pretty close.
And then the second one that I tend to use is specifically stuff that um, recovers my stamina faster per successive attack.
Yeah.
Because I have to keep attacking and everything. Not really focusing on my ultimate art, which is Totem Stella, mainly the character skill. Because the more I just keep attacking, the more stuff I'm able to recover.
Yeah.
And it's very useful. It's very useful. What about you?
Um. Well, for me, I try and use at most like some stuff involving stamina, like stamina stuff, like Nine of the Beast, for example, because it's like a stamina recovery with its successful attack. Even though it also gives it a little bit of fire, it goes start have the main starting weapon dealing fire damage. Night of the Champion, which increases max stamina and stuff like that. And other times I might have like the whole like Night of the Lord, where like it's switching weapons. No matter what I use, often at times it adds affinity attack and it boosts the power, and also switching weapons stuff like that. But um, if I feel like up to it or lucky to be able to do it, sometimes I might find the thing that gives my main weapon a actual word they call Prayerful Strike, because
Mm,
I don't know. I've been kind of liking that in main Elden Ring because it kind of helps from time to time, especially like when you can be able to get it off on your enemies.
Executor. What do you think about Executor?
What about Executor? Well, I've been kind of doing this thing where for him uh I have starting armor inflicts poison, and poison right in the vicinity increases attack power, right?
Hmm.
Um, And I changed the compatible. I changed his main sword to Chilling Mist at the start of the expedition, and any enemy that's frostbite afflicted, my attack power goes up. So it's kind of like it's what I guess you could say it as like the triple procker, if that makes any sense.
Funny enough, that's exactly what I use.
Yeah. I also do a little bit of a thing where when I go into his little beast mode,
Hmm.
his roaring will restore HP while doing the thing, because not only can it help myself, but also it can be able to help my teammates as well. And I will say, like, it's kind of like a interesting little thing to be able to pull off the roar, especially if you can, like, like stagger some enemies and even some bosses.
Rawr.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't really need to talk much about that because you literally took everything out of me right there, because that's very similar to what I use, especially the triple
Yeah,
proc thing. I fucking love it.
yeah, it's very
Um,
good.
Recluse. So I'm not much of a fan of using Recluse, but I've learned of some relics that go very good with Recluse. Um, One of them you buy from the new special shop, where you get nothing but starlight shards.
Yeah.
I got that put on her. I got the I think it's using your ultimate art or whatever activates Terra Magica.
I, I think it's like when you. I think it's Hold on. I'm thinking
So is
it's
it
like the
Terra
collect.
skill? Is it the skill or the ultimate
I,
art?
I think it's the skill because I think like it's the
Okay.
one where you collect the residue.
Yeah, that's the character skill. My bad.
Yeah, collecting affinity residue activates Terra Magica. So pretty much like whenever you get the thing, from an enemy or sometimes your teammates, and if you have that ability to activate, that's what it does. Yeah.
And then the final relic that I use for her, interestingly enough, is from the Everdark Sentient Pest.
Yeah.
That one makes her so much better to use. Um, I like using her because as people might not know, both me and Rumble have platinumed Nightreign.
Yes.
Um, and I felt like that one of the hardest trophies to get was beating a Night Lord with each character. Now, me
Mhm.
and Rumble used to think, quote unquote, used to think it was beat the main Night Lord with every character, but that is wrong.
Yeah, because it's very vague, honestly, if you
Yeah, the
think about it.
wording is so dumb.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, when it comes to Recluse, how I got her part of that trophy was I was able to get a Staff of the Guilty, and I kept using Thorn spells. And the funny thing was I had gotten a couple side effects from beating like regular bosses, and those were HP restores upon successive attacks.
That's a nice one.
So the funny thing is, I had so many of those particular side effects given to me that anytime I kept using my thorn spells, I would always recover more than I would lose. And that was pure fucking luck. Like it was
Yeah.
luck, okay? I only got put down I think twice, and it was because of that damn doggo and his damn sword. Um,
Yep.
which don't worry, we'll be getting to the bosses very soon.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's really the only setup I tend to use now for Recluse if I ever have to use her, because my main issue with her was always running out of FP. That was
Yeah.
literally what it was. And plus, yeah, she's very, very squishy too, but
Hmm.
especially, her twins, the squishy boobies. Hey, she has the best boobas in the game, man.
I'm not judging. I'm not saying that you're wrong.
Plus, I love chocolate women too, so that's another plus. But what about you? What do you tend to use for recluse?
Um, well, I kind of been using relics, stuff that has, some of her special little things from like suffering blood loss, increased attack power upon arc activation,
Hmm.
activate ultimate arc raises HP, and of course the thing with collecting infinity residue activates Terra Magica because the Terra Magica thing. If you can build if you can build a little thing or two with that, you can go like slowly but surely, kind of get your FP built up a little bit, and yeah, the other one is definitely from the Dark Knight City and Pass of Dark Knight of the Wise, where it's like increases max FP,
Hmm.
FP upon successive attack, and
Hmm.
FP permanently increased upon Sorcerer's Rise mechanism, whatever the
Yes.
fuck that is.
Well, I think the rises one is those little towers where you have to find like the symbol that's blocking it, or
I think I want to say yeah. I think
yeah,
probably that's what
those
it
are the
is.
rises. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though
I
it's like,
tend to get
you know,
lucky when it's just the crest like over the freaking doorway.
yeah,
Like, give me some of
yeah.
that. Um, but then there's the final one we're going to be talking about here. So, Revenant, also known as Naruto Run. Because she runs so fast. She's so fast. She's like Sonic. When it comes to the relics I used to use on her, because I don't really use her anymore after I got that trophy. My main thing was I had one where when she would use her ultimate art, it would activate Ghost Flame attack.
Yeah.
And then the other ones were around like attack boost while I think fighting alongside family.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then of course the other one I would use would probably be like the Starlight Shards one because depending on if you wanted to go the faith route with it or the intelligence route with it, it just depends on what you would find out in the world.
Yeah.
What about you?
Pretty much the same thing, I guess, because like I only really used her like a couple of times and everything like that. But yeah, I'd say like her I'd probably be using like her special little rugs from like the old portrait and makeup brush because they both have things tied to her specifically.
I haven't really
Um,
done her remembrance like that, so you probably have more of her stuff than I do. Yeah.
yeah, because for me, basically, like, as Onyx mentioned, like, because we both platinum the game, and after doing all that, at least for me anyway,
hmm
I've been trying to do this little thing where it's like I get all the remembrances for all the characters and all the relics and outfits and whatnot have you.
I'm
Yeah,
just glad that they're not tied to trophies. Because once I got the platinum, I really didn't care about doing a lot of the remembrances. I know I still want to do Wilders, um, and I do want to do Raiders. After that, no more really, because I know that I did Duchesses and Iron Eyes. I did
yeah,
those when I did my streams of them.
yeah.
But then after that, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave that to Rumble. Off you go. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I remember like I remember like the time where it's like I've been trying to do Iron Knight's thing, and good God, like fucking, it was a grind. It was like a grind and a
yeah, I
half,
remember
probably
when
more
you
so.
accidentally bugged out one of the remembrance parts. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's been so weird sometimes because I think we might kind of talk about this at some point as well because
hmm
because I will say like when it comes to Night Rain, there are some weird moments that really need to be addressed and also really needs patching.
Are you gonna talk about that time when you got stuck in a tree?
No,
I remember
even though
the
that is
dumbest.
one.
I remember the dumbest one I ran into was when I was just starting the game and I was still on the Flying Eagle and it didn't put me far enough to the ground and I fell into the water out of bounds.
Hmm. Yeah, because for me, I'd say
That was
like
dumb, Miyazaki. That was dumb.
yeah, it's like so yeah,
No
if
feet for you.
yeah, for me, it's
Continue.
like I mean, since you kind of mentioned it, but yeah, like I don't know why or how this was a thing, but because I was doing Recluse's stuff with her, trying to like get more expeditions done so I can unlock more of her remembrance and all that just jazz. And
hmm
I shit you not, I'm like starting day one,
hmm
and I come down, and all of a sudden like I get stuck in a tree that that gives you the FP shit,
Rumble,
and
rumble,
I'm not kidding
rumble
when
of
I
the
say,
jungle. Watch out
but
for the tree.
But yeah, it's like the tree was not even there, and it's like as soon as I dropped down, like it just came out of nowhere, and I got trapped, and I had to literally leave. Like I had to like literally quit out to the main menu because you can't be able to like really. I couldn't really. You can't really do anything, and I couldn't even, like do anything because all my other two randoms were just like out and about, like way off and all that.
Man, you hear Rumble, everybody? He's blaming the tree for his failures. Damn, man, that's so
If
wrong,
you
man.
saw if you saw it, then you would have known. But I'd say it's nothing compared to one of my runs that I had where for the fucking tree. Okay, so and I know Alex gonna know about this, but you remember the whole tree sentinel with the royal cavalryman, right?
Yes, I do. You're going to talk about that one knight that wouldn't die.
Well, sort of. I mean, because I don't know why. I don't know what happened. Like, it was so weird. Because it's like, it was me, a couple of randoms, of course. Because I often play with randoms more than I do like solo or whatever. But
Yeah,
I
he
don't
was
know what
just
the hell
standing
happened.
there and he didn't have a health bar.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that one.
Basically, in a nutshell, like, I think I was doing some stuff with Raider because I was wanting to try to get, do some remembrance stuff, like I was talking about before.
Yes.
And we came across a moment where we had a tree sentinel and the two royal cavalrymen. Because usually when the tree sentinel is the boss around like day 1 or 2, which I think mostly day 2,
Mm.
royal cavalrymen does their thing. So we was doing that, and literally like as soon as we killed the tree sentinel, we could not do anything. Like the bot, like we could not build to advance. We could not build to kill the boss or anything like that, like the last little thing that was there because like even though like the health bars were literally gone, like they're
Hmm.
not gone, but
I know
like
what you're talking about.
they're
Yeah.
yeah they're down to 0 basically,
Mm.
and oh my god, like no matter how many times you would try and whack the one that was still standing, it's like you can see that you can see like the numbers of all the damage and all together, but it would not die, and it literally soft locked me and the two people I was playing with.
That sounded very familiar to a situation I had with like a deprived perfumer. Um, that would spawn when it came to fighting a boss and everything. He would just keep dodging and healing, and then he would just be outside in the storm, and we wouldn't be able to go get him, and we were just like, "Fuck it, just let him die somewhere out there. Let him drink himself to shame." But yeah,
Yeah.
that's all the builds, right? That's all the characters that we've talked about.
Yep, yeah, pretty much, because there is 8 in total that
Yeah,
you can get all together. So
yeah, for now at least. All right,
yeah.
let's talk about these expedition bosses. So I don't mind Doggo now. Like I don't mind the Doggo now. He was hard when we first started off
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't really have any good relics and stuff. But now if you just go in there with like a holy build, it's not really as hard anymore. The only thing that would really make it hard now is the randoms you run into.
Sort of. I mean, yeah, because I mean, yeah, I tell you, like, yeah, like the Tricephalos boss, aka through the doggo. Yeah, it's like
Hmm.
it was a pain in the ass, but like, we kind of gotten used to him in a sense. But there are those moments where it's like it splits into 3 big doggos, as their own little thing and all that. Like that's probably the other only thing that can kind of really be a pain in the ass. But yeah.
Arf. But yeah, I mean, it's a good. It kind of feels like a tutorial, even though you kind of already have a tutorial with Wilder. Which, by the way, fuck Morgot.
Yeah.
He pops up in this game more than regular Elden Ring, and he's kind of like that big fat king mosquito that just keeps coming back for more blood. Like he just loves how you taste. And he pops up as a tutorial boss in the beginning.
Hmm.
He's also one of the I think he's like the day 2 boss in Trilopicus.
Sometimes.
And
Yeah,
then
sometimes.
later on in other expeditions you do, he'll invade you.
Yep.
And if you don't kill him, you get a painful downgrade on you. And it's
Hmm.
and what's really stupid about it is if it's targeted on you and you die, but your teammates kill Morga, you get the downgrade, but they get the upgrade.
Yeesh.
And that is stupid as fuck.
Quite.
But yeah, Trilopicus isn't really bad.
He's
He's
annoying, but
he's
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 doable.
kind of fun when you build up those relics.
True.
But then there's Adele. Gaping jaw. So at
Yep.
first I used to call that thing a fucking crow, but apparently in the game files it's a dinosaur.
I can see it, kind of.
I hate that boss.
Yeah.
That phase 2 is bullshit. And we're not even going to talk about the Everdark version.
Yeah,
That made me
pretty much.
pull out my beard hairs because I don't have any hair on the top of my head. I had to
Yeah, the
pull
fucking
out my
Everdark
beard
version
hairs, man.
is.
Because now that we've fought the Everdark version, regular Adele is manageable. Like, he's still hard,
Yeah.
but he's manageable now.
Yeah,
Especially if you
especially
go
when
in
you
there with a poison build. The only things that
get.
really would wreck you is his phase 2, and if you get a random in there that don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, and probably like if he somehow is able to get you because he can cause blood loss if he's gnawing on your ass.
Yeah. And then there's Sentient Pest. Now, this is something I know we won't agree on. I actually like Sentient Pest.
I can only wonder why.
Well, it's mostly because, I like the moth. Noster is adorable. It
I
reminds me of
mean,
Mothra from the Gojira films.
I
And
mean,
and I don't mind the Scorpion. I don't really mind him. Um what I don't like is really just that phase 2, because the phase 2, um how can I word it? I don't like the charges that they do.
yeah,
Like
I
when
mean,
he charges at you, it's bullshit. And plus the nuke is not very
yeah,
good either. I don't like the nuke.
yeah,
But it's
yeah. I'd
it,
say like,
it's a fun boss though. And it's actually, and like I said, Noster is very adorable, that little moth. Now the Everdark version can kiss my ass.
yeah, with that third fucking thing, it likes to resurrect and all that. It's just,
Yeah. And then you find out that the Scorpion has a fucking name. I think it's Faustus Stone Shield. And I
so
and I remember when I was doing that fight for the first time, I was like, man, that sounds like a great name for a character for World of Warcraft. Like a fucking barbarian. Fortress Stone Shield.
so it could
Let's
be, yeah.
talk. Let's talk about the epic journey of Forster's Stone Shield. Like now, I kind of just want now I kind of want to keep in the back of my mind of if one day I was ever in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, I'll name a barbarian made out of stone named Forster's Stone Shield.
Oh god.
I think it's kind of funny, yeah.
Mm.
Okay, let's see. What's the boss that comes after that?
Well, as you like to call it, the Ever Beast, the cousin of the Elden Beast.
Oh, yeah. The Aqua Elden Beast.
Mm-hmm.
While some people will call it Augur, its name is Maris. When it comes to Maris, it's mainly the phase 2.
Yeah.
The phase 2 is very frustrating because that's when it tries to put you to sleep and all that. And like I
Yeah.
said, if you go in there with an Iron Eye, you won't really have too much problems, but it'll still be rough like in phase 2.
Cause the thing about that boss is it's known to be in the air a lot, so like getting the ability to hit it while you're not an Iron Eye is kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah. But yeah, if you go in there with its weakness is lightning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you go in there with an Iron Eye with a starting armament with lightning, you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
And if you
These
and
should
if you
not
can get
problem.
and if you can get like offhand items that make you less to be targeted, if all three of you have items like that, it will literally confuse the boss. It's really funny.
Shit.
But then there's the goat.
Yep.
I don't like the goat.
I don't like them either.
Like, dead serious. What the fuck, man? They took a patch to put more madness weapons in the game.
And I have to say this, but like funny enough, like when I managed to beat him, that was before the patch. So
Oh my
and
god.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but
But the funny thing is depending on the offers he gives you, you can actually get a trophy. So if you ask for more levels, he can get you to level 15 and it'll pop that trophy for you. Problem is though is anytime you drink from your flask, you lose a level.
yeah,
But it was worth it for the trophy.
yeah.
But yeah, Goat Man can go suck an egg.
Yeah,
Yeah,
funny
funny
enough
enough,
though,
though,
I'm
I'm
remembering like
remembering
the
like the
times where you
times where
can
you can
randomly
randomly
find
find
him
him
in the
in the
world, because
world. Because
sometimes
sometimes
you
you
do
do
like a
like a
self-gnome.
gnome.
Mm.
If you
If
can
you
go
can
through
go
a
through
thing
a
where it's
thing where
like
it's like
you
you
get rid of
get
this
rid of this
curse,
curse,
and
and
then like
then
you know
like you know,
talk to him
talk to them
afterwards,
afterwards,
Hmm.
you can often at times get a little something without having to really worry about too much of a negative consequence, really.
Yeah, that happened a lot in the Dark Drift Ever Dark version. I kept getting his quote unquote raid,
Hmm.
which is really what it's called. And it's not a raid. It's really just hide and seek. You're trying to find this fucker, and then you just got to pay him 15,000 runes, which is stupid, um, to break the curse, and then you can get like almost anything from him with like no consequence whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
I have to say this though because I have actually experienced people do this before. So if you ever like find his ass, you know, you get that curse, for the love of God, do not attack him. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with the curse and having very little health or half health at most.
oh, that's happened before with somebody.
Yeah, because I've had moments where it's because okay, so I don't like to admit this, but the first time that I actually saw him as that thing,
Hmm.
I didn't know about like what the fuck was going on, so I kind of like at one point in time like attacked him just because he's a fucking piece of shit overall, and I think you can even agree.
Yeah, he is.
But yeah, like if you attack, but yeah, if he comes to do his little thing, he'll like he'll pull a little thing on your health. And if you attack him, then not only will he start doing his little spammy shit, but that curse will stay with you throughout the whole run.
Yeah.
And that is just straight up just
Mm.
yeah, and
Sounded
like
like
so
Duke
it's it,
Nukem over there. Mm. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I
it's just
get
still
you.
something. Yeah, yeah.
And then I'm trying to think. The next boss is Dark Drift.
Yep.
So I have mixed feelings on him. So I think his phase one's kind of cool. His phase two's kind of rough though, and it's mainly because of two particular attacks. One, the big slimy arm when it gets you. Sometimes you
Hmm.
can't dodge out of the way, and the other one is when he charges at you.
Oh yeah.
Aside from that, if you're just able to stagger him even with the iron eye with a lightning bow, he'll stagger even by just one freaking hit, and you can
Yeah.
lower his AOE attacks.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like about him, the other thing I don't like about him though is sometimes like whenever he does a little thing, he'll like make you fat roll, and he does those little things coming from the ground. You
Mm.
can never you are not gonna fucking be able to evade that if you're fat rolling.
Yeah. Now I will say the Everdark version, it's cinematic, really good. It's really cool looking, but it's shit.
Yeah, 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 like I can get like the whole it's a cinematic masterpiece and all that, but like fuck the Everdark version of him.
I'm gonna say this though, is out of all the Everdark versions, of bosses so far. I honestly think Everdark is kind of the most manageable because okay, let me bring up, for example, Adele and Noster. Okay, let me bring this up to you. For example, Adele has that phase 3 where if you don't use those spirit springs, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And even when you get out of the storm, you're still gonna get fucked because he's moving around like he's having a tantrum. And trying to hit this fucker with poison, it helps, but not as much as it did in the regular version. And that's why Adele Everdark is bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, we go to Noster, also known as Sentient Pest, in case people don't get it by now. Noster still, and you know, Foster Stone Shield, they still have their weakness to fire. And of course, you know, when it comes to Noster, I timed it myself. When you hit it with something that's made of fire, it has like a 15-second burn that happens, where it slows it down and it takes a little bit of extra damage. But Noster, what makes their fight bullshit is the fact that it's tied around Animus.
Yeah, the third thing, yeah.
And really, I think when he goes into Foster Stone Shield, makes the fight harder. When it comes to Noster, not really. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to dodge like more of the little light projections that it does, but it gets really fatigued after that, and you're able to hit it really good. But of course, when it goes into Foster Stone Shield, it's ass.
Yeah, like I'm just kind of remembering. It's like because I managed to take down that boss on my second attempt because for some reason the game, and this is another little situation where sometimes the game will pretty much like say, oh, you got a network error, but it's not really your internet, and you know
Yeah,
it'll kick you to the
it's the
timer.
game being a dipshit. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but yeah, like I remember like the first time I did that, and I got to see a little bit of what it was like, and then managed to get it on my second attempt. But yeah, like, but yeah, I'd say with the moth, you know, it kind of makes it a little bit of a bullet hell type of game, but you know, not in the extreme extent, I guess. But yeah, the scorpion one, yeah, that's definitely an ass.
But here's why I say Dark Drift is honestly easier than Noster. One, he's still one boss.
True.
Two, he still gets staggered by lightning damage. Versus Adele, where it'll get poisoned, but it doesn't throw that shit up. You're fucked.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's why I told Rumble, when it comes to Adele, never again, dog. Never again. I don't give a fuck. If it gives me a much cooler reward, I ain't fighting that Dino Crow again. I ain't gonna do it. But yeah, when it comes to, you know, Dark Drift, okay, is the Everdark, in my opinion, I wouldn't say it's the easiest, but it's the more simple one. Second being Noster. But like I said, Foster Stone Shield is what makes that one harder. I'm gonna keep saying it like that, and you know it's gonna be a bit.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to Dark Drift, you can still stagger him with lightning damage. His attacks can be choreographed decently, But it also is down to if you have teammates that know what they're doing, if they are using good weapons, if they are leveled up. Oh my God, I have to tell you a story.
Hmm?
One time I was fighting Everdark Dark Drift, okay? And I kid you not, one of them was a Guardian, and he was still level 1.
Wow.
And after he got downed for the 3rd time, which by the way, keep in mind, we gave up on his ass because he just kept going in there being like, I will save you. Down. Like we couldn't understand why he kept getting down. Cause see, I was level 15. I think my partner was a 15. He was an executor, and he was actually carrying the fight. I was doing good with Iron Eye, of course. I mean, I got put down a couple times, but that was because of the bow attack that Faustus does. Like
Yeah.
it's rough. It's very rough. But we didn't win, of course. We got him to like half health, but that
Yeah.
was about it. And then I remember very well looking at that ending progress screen. It said he was still level 1.
Wow.
And I'm like, this person better not be a streamer. Because let me explain something, okay? I know streamers that do challenge runs of this game, but they do them solo. You know why?
Hmm.
You don't want some people probably do, but let me tell you something, guys. Don't let someone carry you if you ain't going to do nothing. Okay? If you're not going to level up, if you're not going to level your weapon, if you're just going to run around with a shield up and get one shot, play by yourself.
Yeah.
Let me explain that again. If you're doing a challenge where you're not going to level up, don't do it on multiplayer. Do it
Yeah.
by yourself. We care about progression. Some of us care about progression and a mild challenge. The last thing we need to do is carry your level 1 punk ass when we've gone past so many fucking graces, okay? I distinctly remember that we went past a lot of graces in day 1 and day 2.
I can imagine.
And when you find a grace, you do the quick level up and you move on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. Well, since you talked about stories, I kind of have a thing or two as well. So I've had moments where I would be, just doing things on my downtime, with just random people.
Mm.
I've had moments where, like, I'd be, like making good progress, everything like that, and someone would just randomly dip, and
Oh, I hate
they're,
those.
yeah, and like someone would just randomly dip, and it's like they don't come back.
Mm.
And I've actually had moments where I have actually gone through a good portion of the game, or at least around the end game, where
Mhm.
I defeated a boss or two with as a duo.
Oh man, let me tell you something. One of the worst ones I had was when we were actually having a solid run, and we had issues with the day 2 boss, but we ended up defeating that boss. But right at the half health of it, both of them dipped on me,
Oh man.
and I was able to defeat that said boss. I was able to. They never came back. And I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll just let this boss crush me then. And I'm talking
Yeah, I
about the
think
main boss, not no kick around like a golf ball kind of boss. Now I ain't talking about that, guys. I'm not fighting a main expedition boss by myself. unless they fix the solo part of Nightreign.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah, I've
yeah,
had a couple dips myself too. I haven't dipped on anybody. Keep in mind, the only times
I've
I've ever had disconnects was if my game crashed.
yeah, like I mean, I will say like I've had like I don't really dip as much unless if like say like it's like been like a really bad run or something like that. But most of the time, like if something like if one person dips, I'll like maybe try and just do it with whoever's still there. But other times it's like
Hmm,
yeah,
I get you. All right, let's talk about the next boss. I believe it's Ice Dragon.
yeah, Fissure in the Fog.
So Ice Dragon can be pretty rough. Um, Mainly, it's the phase two where it makes everything cloudy and disappears, and it's just so quiet.
Yeah,
And you're like trying to find this dragon, and if you don't find him, you're dead. You may as well just
pretty
say you're
much.
dead because he
Yeah.
one shots your punk ass.
Yeah, I
Now,
think if I remember correctly, like
mhm.
I think like he does a thing where it's like he makes like the sky be like kind of glassy and it just all of it
Oh, I
just
hate
breaks.
that too. Yeah, I hate that
Yeah.
too.
That's
Like that.
it.
Yeah, that's rough. I've learned that when it comes to that particular part of the fight, I will run my punk ass away. I will bolt.
Yeah.
But it's an all right boss. I like that it's a
Mm.
dragon and it's weak to fire. Like that's
Yeah,
cool.
'cause it is a cold dragon.
Yep. Yep. I was about to say Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze quote, but I won't do it. I'll just do it. All right, everyone, chill, chill, chill. What bring the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. There you got two from me. Now we have to talk about the final boss,
Ah, yes, the night
the
aspect.
Shade of Night, also known as Alistair. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm gonna explain this. He's pure cinema. He is the coolest looking boss ever. Okay, like I think automatically, I think you can agree with me on this. He is such a big fan of Slave Nightgale. He totally fights like Slave Nightgale from Dark Souls 3.
I mean, even though it's been a while, I mean, I can kind of see it, but like, yeah.
But yeah, he's a really, really cool boss, especially when he like tears open the sky and like a random field effect will happen from like poison to frost to magic to fire, lightning.
And sleep.
Oh yeah, the sleep one. Isn't that the one that's usually when he does the magic? Yeah, he does sleep for that.
Yeah, I think like he can do sleep from time to time. It's sometimes it's random, so you never know exactly what you're gonna get unless you know by the color or something.
Yeah. Now I'll say this: he's a very, very rough fight. He's got to be one of the hardest fights in Nightreign.
Hmm.
I think you can agree with me on that.
Yep.
I'm gonna tell you this though, guys, is I've only fought him twice. One of them was with Iron Eye. So freaking useful.
Yep.
Second one was with Duchess. That was rough.
Yeah.
Like I'd say, if you're gonna go in there against Hellister, go in there with an Iron Eye or maybe Raider, if you have like
At
the right
most.
relic setup.
At most,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I think yeah we as our third we had a Revenant.
Hmm.
Yeah, we had a Revenant helping us. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, some
Um,
apparently I think you know.
yep. Um, which that was pretty damn fun. That was pretty damn fun. So we have shifting Earths as well. There is one shifting Earth that I'm not a fan of, and that is the Noxtella one. And I'm going to explain why. I get so fucking lost in that damn place. I don't
Yeah.
even know how to get the fuck out of there. Like,
True.
dead serious. I always have to risk a level and just die. Just so I can get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, that can be a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean the boss in there is pretty interesting. It's an Estelle.
Mhm.
And once you defeat it, you get a power up. I
Yeah.
do know that there is a quest with Raider to do a Noxtella to get like a silver tier.
No, that's Wilder.
A larval tier. Same damn thing.
Yeah. Well,
It's a
I'm trying.
tier.
I mean, forgive me because I like it's
I
kind of
know,
like a
I know,
little
I
thing.
know.
Like
You're
I know Wilder's thing is getting a tier from Noctello or whatever the fuck it's pronounced there. Yeah.
Noxtella. Stella.
Well, I just call it the Shrouded Sea. Just call that.
I'm just messing, but continue.
I was going to say like I just call it the Shrouded City because yeah, it's like that. It's like the underground. It does remind me like the underground places that you can go and find like main enemy from like Nokron, the Noxtel, like it's like I
Mm,
want to say Noxtel or something like that, but yeah,
yeah.
I totally know what to do because I think I actually had that situation happen to me recently because I was like trying to figure out like where the fuck my other teammates were because like I was trying to like figure out like where to go and all of a sudden I think I'm going the right way and all of a sudden
Yeah, because when you do Wilders, you have to fight a mimic giant, and it's red,
yeah, I think
which is very interesting. That is an
yeah,
interesting one there.
yeah.
But in terms of the shifting Earths, I'm trying to think which one I really like because like I said, I've done them all because there's a freaking trophy tied to it.
Mhm.
Um, the crater's okay. Um, I'd have to probably go with the icy mountain one.
Yeah, mountaintop, yeah.
Yeah, I think the mountaintop one is the most one I've done the most of.
I say probably that is. I think I probably say as well, but the one I hate doing is the fucking rotted woods.
Yeah, because you have to try and find that one branch to climb up on to like find the power up. Yeah, I don't like that one either.
Yeah, and yeah, I can't tell you how many times where it's like, you know, like I'm doing my little thing with randos, and somehow they find it, but I can't be able to find it, and yeah, I'm the one who's always, and yeah, I'll probably be going down more so than those two combined.
True, true. All right. I think a good way to end this off is doing our own little mini tier list of the bosses. Not the Everdark ones, the regular ones. Because we're going to
Okay.
tease you like that, everyone watching. Well, listening at home. Listening, you're listening to me. Um, so let's see. Doggo, Trilopagus. I'd probably put Dog at maybe. I'd say maybe B tier.
Hmm.
It's like a basic boss to me.
More or less.
What do you think? Well, would you put it at B?
Uh, I guess probably like B or C at most. 'Cause it's like, yeah, like when we first did it, it's like, you know, it was annoying and it's still gonna be annoying at times, but it's doable. So B, I'd say like low B, like low B or somewhere in C.
Yeah, yeah. Adele. I'm gonna put Adele at. I'll put Adele at D.
Hmm.
Let me
Adele.
explain. Let me explain why. And enhanced Adele is worse.
Oh yeah.
Also, if you go in there with poison, it makes phase one a lot easier.
True.
But it's still a rough fucking boss. And honestly, this is just my opinion. I don't like that boss. I think it's terrible. I know one that's much worse than that one, and we'll be getting to that soon.
Mm-hmm.
But what would you put Adele at?
I'd probably put him at D as well. I mean, 'cause like I don't like fighting the boss. I don't like fighting the meter. Like yeah, between main and Everdark one, like Everdark one keeps me ours, and all that. But yeah, like main one, it's like it's yeah, like
Yeah.
I'll probably fight from time to time if I don't want to do like the three-headed doggo or something like that, But other than that, probably around D tier as well.
Yeah, D stands for dick. All right.
Dude, nuts.
Sentient pest. I'm giving the sentient pest S tier. I'm going to explain why. Okay. Is if we were going to be comparing this to the Everdark, the Everdark would probably be a C for me. But main sentient pest, I like the boss fight. Okay, because if you have like the right randoms with you, they can take on Foster's Stone Shield, while you can be an Iron Eye with fire and attack the moth. The phase 2's rough, but it's not impossible. If you have like the right people on your team, it's a pretty fun fight. And plus, I like cinematic. Okay, I like cinematic when it comes to boss fights. Now I know you're probably not going to agree with me, but it's S tier for me.
I mean, depending on what kind of circumstance we're going for. For me, I definitely would not give that fucker an S tier. I'd probably give it an F tier because fuck that boss.
I know. Yeah. You like getting hit by bosses.
No, I don't. You have to lie.
All right.
Slides and Lander.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Which one's after that one? Dark Drift?
No, it's Augur.
Oh yeah, Augur. Maris. Maris can be rough.
Mm-hmm.
But depending on the RNG, it'll either be rough or it'll be basic. I'm gonna give it a C.
Let's see. Hmm.
Because I feel Augur is more rough than Trilopicus.
Yeah, yeah. But if we're comparing Augur to the doggo, it's like yeah, because it likes to be able to be in the air a lot, and then like it's like to shoot the water out and everything like that. But yeah, I guess I can go with that as well.
Okay, so both C. All right. Which one's next after that?
The goat.
F tier. I hate that goat so much that I even have a TikTok of me ranting about that goat. That big shout out to Kelzion clipped that and I put it on TikTok because I thought it was funny. I hate that boss. I hate that fucking boss so much because it's so hard, depending on the run you have, to get a madness based weapon. And before the patch, it was nearly impossible for me to get a madness based weapon, because I know there'll probably be people talking about this maybe in the comments or roasting me on the internet saying, "Oh, get good, bro." Let me explain something, okay? You listening to me right now? I'm going to tell you something, okay? It's called RNG, random number generator. When you get no tower for madness, and even when you go to make that deal with Goatman Merchant, as I tend to call him on my streams, and he doesn't ever give you the option to have a weapon. It's the roughest shit ever. Okay? I'm always going to be toxic on that. I'm going to be salty on it. And plus, also before the patch, he would spam the hell out of his fucking slam so fucking much that you never really had enough endurance to freaking dodge that shit. Even to do your character skill. You couldn't even do your character skill because it didn't fucking matter.
Mm-hmm.
He was acting like a fucking basketball player. So because of that, he's gonna have F tier, and he's always gonna have F tier for me. I hate that goat. I fucking hate that goat, man. I hate him. Ugh. F stands for fuck. Fuck you, goat. Your turn.
I mean, okay, so yes. Now, if we were doing by the most annoyance of the bosses, I had to put him in S because I can't stand him. But if we're doing the normal way, yeah, F tier because he is the most. He's probably the number one spammiest motherfucker in the whole entire roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hate him.
Yep.
Okay, and then there's Dark Drift. So, when it comes to Faustus, so if we're talking about regular Faustus, he's hard. He's very hard.
Yep.
But I think for the opposite reasons of Augur, he's still, I feel, almost as hard as Augur. But for opposite reasons. Because Augur's always in the air. So having melee is going to be rough as hell.
Oh, yeah.
But not having something with lightning makes Dark Drift harder.
Pretty much.
Because you can't stagger him if you don't have lightning.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to say he's F tier. Okay, he's not. I wouldn't even give him a B tier. But is he as rough as Augur, or is he rougher than Augur?
Well, that's kind of a hard thing to say. I mean, because for me, it's like, they both have their annoyances, but like I'd say,
Maybe D tier?
at most probably, but like, but I will say this, like if we were to do like the Everdark Drift Knight, I like to call him, I definitely put him at F because I cannot stand his. I
I feel
cannot
you.
stand for the life of me his fucking phase 3. Like his.
Yeah.
Like I shit you not, his phase 3 kills me the most more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Because from his fucking twin blades that he likes to span the bejesus out of.
I know.
To his nuke where he likes to go up in the air.
We're not talking about
everything.
Everdark.
I
It's
know.
okay. It's okay. I'll give you a head pat. It's all right, Rumble. It's okay.
I know. I'm just like
he's not real. He's not going to get you. It's okay. But we're going to talk about
Anyway.
regular. So I would give regular a D.
I guess D as well. I mean, I it's hard to really say about how to put certain bosses in these lists because like a lot of them have their own annoyances. But I guess D would be okay. I guess
D for Dark Drift. Okay, so next one will be Ice Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Ice Dragon, I might put him at B, and I'm going to explain why. Okay, is comparing him to Trilopicus. They're very similar, but different at the same time. If you go in there with fire, it will make the boss fight easier.
Yeah.
However, there's two attacks to be careful of. One, when the whole field turns smoky and you got to find him. You don't know whether or not to find him or run away from him.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of the equivalent of when Trilopicus splits into 3 dogs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you don't know which dog's going to come for you. Okay?
Yep. That's a fact.
It's very randomized. And then when it comes to the thing with the sky turning into all ice and everything, that can be the equivalent of when Trilopicus used to one-shot us with his sword. Yes, I know. It's okay. So I would give Ice Dragon a B tier. He would be right beside Trilopicus.
I suppose I can kind of see that too. I mean, it's like, even though I haven't really fought him ever since, I had to do the thing, but I guess so. I mean, because, Yeah, because these days, like whenever I'm doing expeditions, I usually just go for Tralophagus because it's like a thing. It's like, oh, I can just it's he's more he's manageable to like, even though he's still when he splits himself into three parts. That's the more the annoying thing. But yeah, I'd say probably around there. Yeah.
Okay. Now the final boss,
Yep.
Hellister. Now I know we're not going to agree on this one. I already know it's going to be that. I'm giving Hellister an A. I'm going to explain why. He gives a really good challenge to me. And I love having my challenges.
Yep.
He is pure cinematic. Like everything he does is so fucking flashy. And I love it. He reminds me of different bosses that I liked in other Souls games, from Artorias to Slave Knight Gale. But he also has his rough moments like Orphan of Kos. When he goes completely mad, which is one of the reasons why he's not going to be on S tier. And plus, I like the twist in the lore about Hellister. I like the twist in the lore about him. Now this is also a thing we're not going to agree with. I like the fake out where it's like, oh, he's called the Shade of Night. He's just fighting like Artorias and Slave Knight Gale. And oh, the health bar is gone and he's exploding. But then the real fight begins, and then the Elden Ring Nightreign music plays. It's literally just like regular Elden Ring, where the final boss's theme song is the menu theme song. It's hilarious. And for that, I'm giving him an A. Now, I know you're not going to agree, so I want to hear this.
Honestly,
because I know you don't like him.
I don't. He's one of them I can't stand the most. Probably next to fucking Goat Boy. Because some of the times where it's like he does like
you're gonna have to put that into words, sir. People at home will not understand.
I'm aware, jackass.
All right, hoser.
I have to probably put him at C at most. I don't like him. I can understand that. Yeah, he does. He can give a challenge, especially from no matter what phase he does. But I don't like him. I can't stand him. I will not. He's probably the one. If I was to do a thing where I was somehow do solo, I would never want to fight him solo. Like, fuck that boss.
So, because Rumble didn't explain it, he's talking about the nuke attack that Hellister does.
In phase 2, yes.
Yes, that's what he meant by the swish, boom. That's what he's talking about. Totally sound like Matthew McConaughey in that one Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
I mean, I've never seen it, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Elden Ring Nightreign. Can't wait to see what else they throw at us, man.
Yeah, and I will say this kind of like to end things off. So, because we have Elden Ring itself and we have Nightreign, what would you say between the two? I'm throwing this question to you as well. So, what would you say that you would probably play more between the two?
It really depends on my mood, because I love how Nightreign doesn't have the fall damage. I like how it has the sprinting. I also like how I can jump onto Spirit Springs and jump up with it. But then I like making builds on regular Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I like the storytelling a bit more in regular Elden Ring. I think, honestly, the best would be a combination of the two if we ever get that one day.
That would be interesting.
Because keep in mind, nothing against Torrent, okay? Nothing against Torrent. But sometimes there's just adding too much and removing too much.
I can see. I can agree with that. Yeah.
Like, let me tell you this. It's going to be hard to go back to regular Elden Ring with fall damage.
True.
And I know you're going to go to a spirit spring and you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to jump it. And it's not working. You're going to need torrent. You're just too heavy.
Yeah, I mean, like there are some things between between the two. Like, I wish one had the other. But like, if I was to say which one I would pick more, I'd probably say I would do Elden Ring mainly a bit more than Nightreign. I mean, yeah, I will say I have been kind of committing to Nightreign,
Mhm.
but like if I was to pick one, I'd definitely go with main Elden Ring, because you can see I'm making your own builds.
Yeah.
And even though it's not my kind of thing, but like, whole storytelling and all that, but yeah, like
Yeah, I feel you.
I'd say main Elden Ring is good. I do like some of the stuff in Nightreign, from like the no fall damage to being able to, like, actually. I'd say another thing I kind of like in Nightreign is being able to, like, like climb up some stuff from time to time. That's
Yeah,
kind of like,
the wall jumping, yeah.
yeah, and also
Funny
I think
enough,
I can
that
really,
was introduced in Sekiro.
I can see that. But yeah,
Mm.
another thing I probably would say I like is the interesting combinations that you can have with some of the weapons, like especially like from the infinity type things to the Ashes of War, because
Mhm.
because a good portion of that stuff you can't really be able to do in main Elden Ring.
Oh man, the fact that you can like buff certain weapons that are not buffable in main Elden Ring is so weird to me when I can do it on Night Ring.
True.
Like it's so weird. But
Yeah.
but yeah. Yeah, everybody, that is the end of the Balls of Steel podcast episode for today. Would you like to send us off, Rumble?
I suppose it could. So, on
I
behalf of
suppose
Onyx,
so.
we appreciate you guys, tuning in and listening and all that. And if you have, things you want to kind of, have us talk about, feel free to put it in the comments, as long as it's not like, religious or political, because fuck all that shit.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, feel free to, the channel a sub, because it really helps us out.
Hmm.
And also, be sure to check us out on our own channels, because we have our own YouTube, we have our own Twitch, we do our own little stuff from time to time, from our own things together. And thank you guys so much, for tuning in and all that. And until we see you on the next video, live stream, or even podcast, we hope you have a good day, week, weekend, and please stay safe out there.
And also, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, yeah.